Today on CityCast Denver. From Spam Masubi to the Loco Moco, Denver's Hawaiian food scene is leveling up. But why now? Also, there's a new restaurant promising to bring a neon-lit Hong Kong noodle parlor experience to Baker, and we got a sneak peek. And as always, our recommendations for your weekend. Today is Thursday, October 26th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Newsletter editor Peyton Garcia, hello.
Hey, Bree.
And producer Olivia Jewel Love is here too. Hi.
Good morning, Bree.
It's Thursday. We're talking about food. I'm excited because today we get to talk about a place that hasn't even opened yet that you guys got to try last week. We're going to talk about MacFam. What's going on? What happened? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so MacFam. So it's scheduled to open. Their grand opening is scheduled for November 1st, but Olivia and I and some other media folks were invited to a little media preview last week, and we got to sample the menu and check out the space. So for those of you who don't know, MacFam originally was operating as Meta Asian Kitchen. They opened in the Avanti Food Hall back in 2019, and they operated there for a couple of years, and I believe they closed that stall earlier this year. And then they kind of launched as a pilot. They did a test kitchen in Honor Farm, which is the restaurant and bar on Blake Street that was, so now it's a horror themed bar. Before that, it was the Pueblo themed bar. And before that, it was, gosh, I don't even remember.
I don't even remember either.
It's been a lot of things. It keeps changing, but they were kind of operating like they had a quote unquote pilot kitchen there so they could test things out. And now they're opening their very first brick and mortar full service restaurant on their own in Baker on South Broadway across the street from Punch Bowl Social and next door to that new Snooze.
Oh,
yeah. Great location.
Yeah, it was initially that was the most exciting part to me was like, oh, perfect. Baker doesn't have anything like this. And it's like right in this perfect little spot. Olivia, what did you get to try? Let's talk about the food.
Oh my gosh, what didn't we try? We tried so much. It was delicious. This was my first time coming to one of these things. So Peyton really,
knew the ropes.
She knew what to do. She knew everyone there and she led me through it. So I had a wonderful time. We started out with the Chinatown dumplings. And these were like pan-fried dumplings, wouldn't you say, Peyton?
Yeah.
They were
so good. I should say their goal is to highlight traditional Cantonese dishes. And when I say they, I should say it's husband and wife duo, Kenneth Wan and Doris Ewan. And they actually are from Jersey City. They both have had training under really impressive restaurateurs and chefs over in New York City. And so when they came here, they kind of wanted to bring a slice of New York City's version of Chinatown to Denver because we really don't have anything like that here. And so, the first thing that we tried was those, they're actually called Chinatown dumplings, and they're supposed to exactly mimic the kind of dumplings that you would get in New York City. And they were so good. We also tried another variation of dumplings. It was the fancy wonton tong, which is their take on a fancy wonton soup. And those were so
good.
That was probably my favorite thing. It was a chicken. They were chicken and shrimp dumplings in a chili sauce, and I legit asked the waitress to get me a spoon afterwards.
These were so funny. They looked over and Peyton was trying to drink the broth with her chopsticks, and they're like, "Do you want a spoon?" And she was like, "Absolutely, yes."
So, Uncle has chilled tofu that comes in this great sauce, and I couldn't have been the only person that was doing a similar thing that they finally started serving it with a spoon because everybody was just trying to drink it out of the bowl. So I think that should be a signal to MacFam, just stick a spoon in there because everybody's going to want to eat this whole thing.
I was just rolling my chopstick around in it, straight up licking the broth off the chopstick. It was, I'm sure, very embarrassing for Olivia.
No,
It was,
I respect it.
But I want to just say that their dumplings were so good. Both of those ones were delicious. And that's coming from me just doing that episode on dumplings with Ethan.
Yeah.
After we went to the Yuan Wonton in fucking Rapidos new concept. And those dumplings were like straight up on par with the ones over there. But they had some other stuff. So we also tried like a scallion pancake, which is like a salty, savory, thin, crispy pancake that was like perfect for like, I used it to scoop up my egg fried rice and eat with that. We had some bao buns. They had a fried tofu bao bun that was drenched in Thai basil ranch. So good. Fried tofu it's a real sleeper on the menu. Their cocktails were incredible. I had a grass panda, which was a vodka cocktail with grass jelly chunks in it.
Ooh.
It was kind of like, they kind of reminiscent of like lychee jelly or boba.
Yeah. So that's consistency. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I tried 3 out of 4 of the cocktails.
Yes. Olivia was working hard that night.
I did take the light rail, full disclosure. But yes, I tried 3 out of 4. The grass panda, Peyton and I thought it kind of reminded us of like a Moscow Mule. It had a lot of ginger flavor in it.
Oh, nice.
Which we both really liked. I really enjoyed there was a drink that they served in a the Lucky Cat.
Oh yeah.
That in a pink Lucky Cat cup, which was extremely cute.
So calling all Instagrammers.
Yes, I know. It was
aesthetically this place is.
They knew, but it was like a red bean drink.
Ooh.
I don't know, and it kind of tasted
It's like a sweet drink.
Yeah, it was really
floral.
good. Yeah, it was very good and very sweet. And then they also, the last one I had was it was their take on a Long Island iced tea, but they made it with this. It was like a juice box.
It's like it's a sweet tea that they traditionally serve, I believe, in Hong Kong. And Doris Yuen said that she grew up drinking those. They're kind of like Chinese Capri Suns is what I would call it. But they use those. They actually serve the cocktail in one of those little juice boxes. It was fun. And you bring up a good point, Bree, that I want to talk about before we move on. From the cocktails to the decor, this place is like the vibes.
Yes,
are
It's
where
good looking.
at.
It's a good looking place.
It's
So
really
cute.
cool. I mean, so if you're just looking for a good Instagram opportunity, the owners said that they were trying to make it reminiscent of, quote, neon lit Hong Kong noodle parlors.
I like it.
And they totally succeeded. The inside is just adorable.
Yeah, and they said they wanted it to be really homey, a place you felt like you could just kind of land and sit and eat and be comfortable, which I definitely felt that vibe. And they were discussing plans to be open late, to kind of get those crowds from
that would be
South
an
Broadway.
perfect
And,
location for that.
I, as somebody who hangs out on South Broadway occasionally, if I could land in there and have some dumplings after a night out,
Perfect.
that would be my heaven. So
Yeah,
I would love it.
And the food was like, the first word that comes to mind is it was really comforting food.
Yes.
Like it was very,
yes.
it was
Warm carbs.
Yeah, yeah. They said that in making this restaurant, they wanted to make it a love letter to American-born Chinese people, and I don't know, that definitely comes through. It's like very comforting. Like it's food that's mostly recognizable, but it's way better than like your local Chinese takeout. It's like way more elevated than that, but it's not so fancy that it's unapproachable. It was all around a great experience.
Real quick, Olivia, I want to ask you about a drink that you had, which was the MS Gin, like MSG in, and they're really leaning into the MSG, which is a whole conversation in itself. What did you make of that?
So I actually did not have the MS gin.
Oh, you didn't?
No, but I did talk to them about it. So they said it's kind of reminiscent of like a dirty martini. It's got that savory flavor, that kind of salty flavor, and that's not really my thing, which is why I steered away from it. But I was really interested in kind of the concept behind it, and I think they talked about kind of the idea of reclaiming the idea of MSG. It's kind of been demonized and
A lot of negative connotations.
There's
with
been a
it.
lot of negative connotations in kind of a racist way in the past for Chinese restaurants and Asian restaurants. So they've been kind of reclaiming it and, using it in their style and kind of just making it what it is, which is just a flavor profile.
It makes sense to me. So if you're not familiar with MSG, it's like a more complex, salty flavor. So it's not just straight salt. I actually use it a lot in my cooking too. But I love this idea that they've taken that flavor and put it to a dirty martini, which typically is going to have the salt from like an olive. So I see where the twist is. And I love that idea. And I love the sort of reclaiming of MSG as something that's just a complex flavor that's part of the spices and the things that they use in their kitchen.
Yeah, I always thought I didn't know anything about MSG. I just always knew it was bad.
Right.
Big no, big red X. MSG is bad, bad, bad. I had no idea that it was that was just a perspective that was kind of pushed on me by society. I had no idea it was just a thing. It was just a flavor.
Well, Chinese restaurants would have giant signs that, like you said, say no MSG. You would see it on packaging. And it was all really rooted in this sort of racist history of demonizing something that was just a flavor profile that was not familiar to Americans. It's much more complex than that. But in recent years, it's gotten its due. And I love that we have a restaurant here that's bringing that to the forefront through their food and drink and promoting kind of conversation about it, which is so cool.
Yeah, they had a really cute post. They had a cute poster in there that was the Morton Salt girl.
Yeah.
But it was MSG instead of Morton Salt.
I love it.
It's cool. They're we love MSG. It's a foundation of this type of food, and we're not going to erase that,
I'm so excited to try it. Last thing we want to talk about is Hawaiian food. It is kind of becoming more popular here in Denver and Colorado as we see more restaurants open. In particular, L&L Hawaiian Barbecue opened, I think their 5th location in this state recently. But this was something that our friend at the Denver Post, Megan Ululani Boyanton, wrote a piece about the sort of the landscape of Hawaiian food in Denver here is growing. Pei, what do you think about this new food trend?
It's awesome and delicious. But I definitely think it's new. I think if you would have asked me, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, oh, do you like Hawaiian food? I would have been what is it? What is that? Yeah. What does that mean? But it's definitely getting more and more. I think my first exposure to it was probably at Adrift, and the tiki bar. And I don't necessarily know if they pigeonhole themselves as Hawaiian, but they definitely have spam musubi and those big giant platters with all of the what are those called?
Hawaiian plate lunches.
Well, and that brings me to this place that just opened its 5th location in Colorado. It's called L&L Hawaiian Barbecue, and I actually just tried it recently. So they serve Hawaiian plate lunches, and in a Denver Post article, they explain, quote, L&L bases its menu on something called the Hawaiian plate lunch, which the restaurant's owners describe as 2 servings of rice, macaroni salad, plus a choice of protein. This dish dates back to wage laborers in the 19th century sugar plantations and pineapple fields who brought rice and other leftovers to work in compartmentalized tins. So when I went, the portions were super generous. And so I think that's kind of what this idea is based on. And the CityCast team, we order Hawaiian food fairly often. And I have to say, I think L&L Hawaiian Barbecue might be our new favorite spot. They've got the Loco Moco. I haven't tried it, but I know that's your favorite, Pei.
It's my favorite.
And I had their pork, their Kahlua pork, and their rice, and mac salad was perfect. Spam musubi was perfect. It was delicious.
That history is really interesting about the sugar plantations and the laborers. Because as somebody who grew up, my family's from Guam. So as somebody who grew up with a lot of not Hawaiian, islander type food,
sure.
It is very much always communally served. And I didn't really think about where that would have come from, but I bet you the story is similar when it comes to food from Guam. Everything's served big giant cookout style, and the portions are always just massive. And I wonder if that's if that's kind of where that comes from as well.
Well,
That's
so
interesting.
I was looking into it a little bit. You know, you guys were talking about like, oh, this seems kind of like a new thing in Colorado. And Megan Ululani Boynton was reporting about this, and it's kind of people from Hawaii are moving into the contiguous United States, you know, fairly recently. And a lot of that is because people are getting priced out of Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's really expensive to live there. Everything's expensive there because it's an island and it's really hard to live there. So apparently a couple of the reasons that people come to Colorado is because they come for like military service or college.
Sure.
And so then they find homes in Boulder and Colorado Springs. I was reading this part that said like the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley and Colorado Mesa University in Grand Junction especially recruit prospective Hawaiian students as part of the Western undergraduate exchange, and they offer reduced tuition rates. So I think that's probably
a big
another
draw.
reason. Yeah, for sure. But as far as, you know, Peyton, you were talking about the community aspect of food. That's like a huge thing that these Hawaiian people are talking about when they come to this new place where they're trying to find
Community.
senses of community. I mean,
Yeah.
that's every culture, right? Food is such a connector for everyone. And this is no different. And I think it sounds like in these articles I've been reading, people are opening these Hawaiian places, and then they're finding their people. They're finding other Hawaiian people, other Polynesian people, and just getting to share that culture that they remember from their childhood and stuff. And it sounds like it's a really connecting experience, which is so cool. It's in Colorado, like of all places.
Yeah, I loved that part. I thought Megan did a great job of sort of weaving that narrative through, was that folks were looking for, you know, community, and finding it through food is just one of those really easy ways. But in the process, we also get the benefit of getting more of this type of food in Denver. And like you were saying, Pay, like 5 or 6 years ago, I was in the same boat. I don't even know if I could tell you if I had had Hawaiian food. And now there's like several places you can go. Like that's what I was so excited about, was there's more options than ever. And it just adds more to our food landscape. It's great.
Well, let's order it on Thursday.
I know.
I need this in my life now. You can't just talk about Loco Moco and not give me a Loco Moco.
True. Yeah, one of the people that Megan talked to was saying that, well, she was saying when she originally moved here, she was like, this is so weird. I'm coming to Colorado from Hawaii. But then she's like, honestly, now that I live here, it's not so different from Hawaii, which I was like, wow, like that's not something I would have ever thought. But she was like, there's a dormant volcano and a sacred mountain that gets snowfall. And she's like, there's so much nature in both states. So it's really not that different after all. So I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. Just
That's awesome.
you know, seeing the beauty in both. So I don't know, seemed heartwarming.
It's time for the official CityCast Denver Maybe for your weekend, as in maybe you'll see us there, because as usual, there are so many cool things happening in Denver this weekend, but there's only one where you might see us. Pay, you round these up. You round up your best bets in our newsletter every week, and we're going to talk about some happening this weekend, and we're going to pick our faves. So what do you got?
Yeah, well, first I want to say it's Halloween. So I've got a few spooky options, but they're not all Halloween themed. In fact, I will tell you, I am taking you out of the city for all of these.
Oh,
So
okay.
you get to do a little road trip.
What you got?
First thing is you're gonna drive out to Boulder because it's First Bite Boulder happening right now. Have you guys ever done a First Bite? I think Denver does one too.
What this is. No.
Yeah, so it's like a week-long event, and this one, so this started on October 20th, but runs through Sunday, so you've still got several days to participate, but a bunch of restaurants in Boulder get to decide to participate in this food week where it's at each one they have like a special, so you'll pay a flat fee, so it's like anywhere from like $25 to $50, and then you get a 4-course meal, and it's usually like special stuff that's not like always on their menu, but it's a really good way for them to kind of like showcase what they specialize in. And the draw is that it's usually a pretty big discount. You're usually getting a lot of bang for your buck. So if you want an excuse to go and check out the restaurant scene in Boulder, which is pretty good, you should check this out. So if you just go to the First Bite Boulder website, they've got a list of participating restaurants. I've been to a handful of them, and a lot of really good stuff, like 740 Front Street. That's in Louisville. It's one of my faves. Basta and Boulder, Japango is like a sushi restaurant. Postino, which I didn't realize they had a Boulder location. There's one here in Denver. River and Woods, another really good one. I did First Bite at River and Woods a few years ago. So anyways, a really cool way to check out the food scene in Boulder if you want an excuse to get up there and have a really nice meal for a decent price.
Okay. What else you got?
All right. Next, this event is happening all weekend, Friday through Sunday in Lakewood, and it is a Halloween. It's actually a monster and horror art expo.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of like prints and posters and just art, like sculptures, but it's all supposed to be like super spooky, creepy stuff. And cosplay is encouraged. So if you want a reason to dress up as a super creepy clown or an axe murderer or Jason or Freddy Krueger, your people are going to be gathering in Lakewood. And if you dress up in a costume, I think you actually get a free print. And if you just go look at the link, which we'll have in the show notes, you can get a vibe of the kind of art that is there. And what I mean when I keep saying prints, they're like watercolors and sketches and stuff. Cool. They're really cool.
That's awesome.
So if this is like your thing, definitely worth checking out.
Okay,
Dang,
great.
I'm going to show up in my strawberry shortcake costume.
Yeah. Just take some pictures next to Freddy Krueger.
Perfect.
Heck yeah.
Perfect. All right. What else we got?
I just like these because like people go all out typically at them. Like people like it'll be scary for sure. Okay. This next one, okay, just hang with me because I'm not super sure what it is, but that's part of the draw. That's part of what makes it enticing to me. So this event is being put on in collaboration between Rocky Mountain Rhythm and then Life Art Dance. So I think that those are the two entities who are putting it on. It's taking place at the People's Building in Aurora, off East Colfax. And what they're describing this event as is an immersive dance haunted house experience.
Okay.
So what I'm gathering, and I could be wrong, but it's a haunted house, but people are dancing in it. But like I think they're like dancing real creepy. So the picture on the Eventbrite link is like this guy dressed up as like a super scary zombie. And he's like in this really weird contorted position, but I think it's because he's dancing. So I think it's supposed to be scary, but also,
so it's like a dance-oriented haunted house. So it may be a different kind of performance inside a haunted house than you have seen traditionally.
So the event description actually says, encounter ghostly apparitions and creepy characters as you move through this mysterious immersive experience. It's the perfect way to get ready for the spooky time of year. So that's, I don't know. It sounds like it might be kind of creepy, but like a totally different,
very unique
take on haunted houses. It sounds interesting to me.
Okay, so if you're a haunted house fan who's looking for maybe a new experience, you've done them all, this might be your spot.
Yeah, and there will be entertainment and drinks in the lobby while you wait for your time slot. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. And what's our last one?
All right, and our last one, it's gearing up for my favorite holiday, skip Halloween, and not Christmas, Thanksgiving, my very favorite holiday.
So weird.
So there's this, it's like my favorite. There's this company called Backyard Pitmasters, and they offer barbecue classes, and they are hosting a class this weekend in Fort Collins. They're actually doing another one the weekend of November 12th here in Denver. So if you're looking for this class to be a little bit closer to home, you can wait a few weekends. But this weekend, it's happening in Fort Collins at Maxline Brewery. And you can take this class, and they will teach you how to professionally smoke your turkey so that you are ready for the best holiday of the year. So if you really want to impress people at your Friendsgiving and you want to smoke your turkey like a professional, you can participate in this 3-hour class. And everything's provided, it's $94, but they provide everything. And there's like notebooks and pencils, and you get to try everything. And they teach you how to season it, and they teach you how to use the equipment and judge temperatures. And you get to eat what you make.
I love this idea because I feel like turkey is such an easy fail. Like, it's a really easy thing to mess up at Thanksgiving. So if you can figure out how to smoke it and make it taste like perfect, I think I'd also like to send some folks to this class.
Yeah. Or, just be like, hey, Greg, go take this class so that our Thanksgiving turkey is super delicious. Yeah. I mean, and plus I think it's just a cool way to like change up the turkey. So you're not just using the usual turkey recipe. My dad smoked a turkey one time for Thanksgiving and it was so good. It sounds so good. Totally different than when you cook it in your oven. But the class just sounds fun. Good. It does sound like it's pretty serious, so you have to be kind of really into your meats. But
I like
check that out.
Tofurkey.
The couple that does this has been doing these classes for all different kinds of smoking and barbecue stuff, and I just love their approach. Is like teaching people how to do something that we talk about a lot in Denver not being great. People complain about barbecue a lot, so like maybe learn how to do it yourself, and they're here to show you, which I love. So, okay, so we've got First Bite in Boulder, which is you can try some great food at a pretty nice price. Then we've got, oh my God, what else? Oh,
the
Lakewood
Monster and Horror Art Expo.
The Monster and Horror Art Expo in Lakewood, where you can dress up spooky and buy some spooky art. We've got the dance-oriented haunted house at the People's Building. And then we've got learn how to smoke your own turkey in Louisville. Is that what you said? Fort Collins. Is there anything you're leaning towards, Liv?
I'm kind of thinking the Lakewood art.
Horror.
Yeah,
art
just because I'm in Lakewood and I've got my friends coming up this weekend.
Might be a cool place to take them.
Yeah, get them a little free art. We could go in our costumes, and all the cosplayers would be like, "You amateurs." We'd be like, absolutely yes.
Peyton, I feel like you're going to go to Boulder for First Bite, but I could be wrong.
How did you know?
I just know you. I know you. I have to say, I might have to override you, Olivia, and that was the one I was thinking. Are you going to go to First Bite? Yeah, that sounds like the best way, especially because I don't know Boulder food scene at all. Yeah, this seems like a really cool way.
I also meant to tell you guys, we rag on Boulder a lot in this show. Because,
we do.
We can. Yeah. And I was just there this weekend because that's where my in-laws live, and Willie and I had a couple errands to run on Pearl Street, and so we kind of walked around Pearl Street with our baby, and I was like, wow, I had a really enjoyable time on Pearl Street, and I need to tell my colleagues about this because I'm usually just crap talking Boulder, but I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's good vibes. I haven't
spent enough time in Boulder. I've only been up there a couple times, so
it's time to get to know Boulder better.
I think I need to get up there.
Let's do it.
Make my own opinion, decide if I really hate it or if I'm just absorbing y'all's opinion.
Well, this is the time. Try their good food.
Let's go up there and get a bite.
First Bite in Boulder. Let's do it. Okay, that's our official CityCast Denver, maybe for your weekend. But we have so much more where that came from. You can sign up for our newsletter, Hey Denver, at denver.citycast.fm for that and more recommendations from Peyton. Peyton, Olivia, thank you so much.
Thanks.
This was delectable.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed the show, why not take a minute to tell your favorite Hawaiian about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Denver, and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya. Pick up the floppy disk. Perfect.